Well, good morning, everybody. Hope the day finds you well, wherever you may be, whatever you may be doing. Sorry, these are the first words to come out of my mouth today. It's 6 in the morning, I just woke up, and it's always funny when I go to make a video, and it's the first thing I've said, so I'm just kind of like, frog in your throats. Um, I made a video last night about darkness and why do we choose the dark side. And it was late at night, and I was, I decided to just leave it unlisted. But this morning I just listed it. I still haven't watched it. I don't watch my videos generally. And when I go into certain subjects like this, I'm careful to not try to push any buttons. I just want to discuss them openly. But I guess what I wanted to do was just kind of bring up a couple more points, I guess, that I thought about. It was funny because after last night when I made that video, I forgot to mention a few things that I would have liked to include, and I was just going to kind of remake the video, but it takes too much time, so I figured I'd just do this. After I got done and I was uploading the video, I went and watched Queen Bee's. She had a video on my subscription list about the dark side of the soul. I was just like, this has happened too many times with too many different people, where we come up with these same ideas at the same time. To me, it's either pure coincidence or there's something in the air, alright, that's causing us to go through certain phases. And I think that it's something in the air sometimes because, and I don't mean that literally, I just mean there's something in the environment and the electrical energy of the universe that allows certain people that think certain ways to consider certain aspects at certain times, whether it's planetary. Maybe it had to do with the fact that there was a solar eclipse yesterday. I don't know. But a few things I wanted to talk about was that, those who, if you want to know, for those who think that reading into anything dark or, dreary is dangerous or harmful to a person's well-being or health, I beg to differ, only because it goes back to the old saying of know your enemy. And I didn't want to use that term because I don't think of anyone as the enemy. But a good battle commander will understand the methods that his enemy uses to gain their powers, where they get their ammunition, all these different things. And so if a person is of religious orient and they want to understand why people are into, say, Satanism and things like this, then they have to look into it. And I think that religion has told us not to, at least Christianity especially, because most Christians say that they're told not to look into these things, which is a choice that each individual has to make. But if the church is telling you don't look at satanic literature, and you assume things are satanic, say like the Necronomicon, which is not satanic, then you go along believing that these things are just what you're told they are. It talks about demons and entities and whatnot, but at least being able to see it from the perspective of the people who are interested in it. I don't move towards the light or the darkness. I move more towards the light. I move forward. I try to find my peace, my making peace with the dark and the lightness. And what I really wanted to mention was that I'm not a dualist. I don't believe in a dualist nature. But I do understand the duality of light and dark. And waking up this morning, as it was dark out this morning, and the nights are getting longer, I guess that really kind of brought it back into focus for me. To realize that our ancestors, during the times when the nights were longer than the days, these were the times when the darkness would start to come out. These are the times when people woke up in the middle of the night to hear a bump, and they couldn't just assume it was, the dog or there's something in the back of their mind, and when they couldn't just get up and turn the lights on to see what it was. They grab a candle and light it with a match, if they had matches, and go through the house and see what's there. It was a scary time. And with all the diseases and things like the plague that came through Europe, people began to attribute these negative, pestilence and disease, starvation, all these different environmental conditions to an evil entity that's creating these, because people who believe a God is all good cannot believe that a God would allow them to suffer. Therefore, this entity, this negative entity, was created. So let's just assume for a minute that it was never real. Have we manifested this negativity into reality? And I'm really torn between it, because I watched a documentary yesterday. It was by an actual satanic preacher. He was this guy, younger guy, kind of looked like Matt Damon actually, and kind of a buff dude. He reminded me of Danzig. Not the hair, but very, very calm, cool, collected guy, very intelligent, and he went on to explain in detail all these 9 demons and how he summons them and why he summons them. And I was just thinking, this is just a normal guy you would meet on the street and not think anything of it. But, he worships Lucifer, Satan, except for the difference is that he was able to distinguish between the two. He talked about Lucifer being the light bearer. He didn't mention anything about Venus or anything about mythology. So it's my belief that sometimes we've ignored the mythology behind not just religion, but behind the demonic possessions and entities, and we refuse to believe that these things could be sometimes just part of a system, that they're not really good or bad. And when I say I'm not a dualist, that's hard to explain. I don't mean that by saying that I don't believe that there's good and bad, but I really have a hard time finding two people that believe all the same things are good and all the same things are bad. So if that's true, and humans really are this, conscious entity that can observe and react, how do we really know what is good and bad if we can't even agree on some of the simplest ideas? So, know thy enemy, right? But know thy peer, too. Know what other people are into and why they have such strong feelings towards it. I never understood anything about Satanism when I was young. I never wanted to, because it seemed like such a petty, useless thing. It seemed so stupid. And then I saw such intelligent people involved in it, I had to ask myself why. And that was strange. I don't know why that fell down or how. It was a box of instant non-fat dry milk that was stacked up on my prepping goods. Is there a demon in here with me? A lot of people would say yes. A lot of people would say, oh, yep, something moved the milk. That was kind of strange. These kind of things happen to me all the time. Weird things. I talk about a weird subject and strange things happen. And I try really hard not to draw conclusions. But I do listen to the universe. It nudges me in the right direction. It's very hard for me to say that I don't believe in evil and have people not think that I'm just a total fool. But I see that most of what we call evil is created by our ignorance, of not knowing what the world is around us and being afraid. Our fear causes our ignorance, and ignorance causes fear. It's a vicious circle. We choose to ignore many of the things in this world, and so if there are people that are involved with the dark side, I think we owe it to ourselves to ask ourselves why. And I'm curious, I guess, if there are any of you out there who are actually into this stuff as more than a mere curiosity, people who are actually members of these groups. I'm curious to know why a person would be willing to give up, let's say all this is true, why would a person be willing to give up the light for the dark in order to trade a little bit of success or good fortune for their soul or their energy or whatever you call? Why would you give any of your energy away to the negative side? That's what I'm saying. There must be a reason for it. I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to summon up any demons. That's not my thing. But for those who do, I'm curious to know, is it just something that people do to gain a little bit of power quickly? Because most of the stories I hear about, this type of worship are usually people who are involved in power. And this is why people assume that all the leaders of the world are satanic. It's not like that. there's a lot of occult ritual type stuff that goes on with these groups, such as the Freemasons and whatnot. But to assume they're satanic is, they're not even in the same league. It's a completely different type of thing. I think what it is just people renouncing their attachment to a particular side or the other, kind of summoning energy from both sides. I don't know how it works. It's just interesting to me, and I find it fascinating, so I just thought I'd make this little video to talk about it. So, take care, everybody, and have a great day, and no, I'm not satanic. And I don't intend to be. I'm just wondering why people are. Peace out.